Nobody has been fired based on the conditions we've seen on our military installations. You heard that right. Nobody has been fired. If you want to see more content made from my bedroom, please subscribe. Not that kind of content. Ha! Nobody has been fired. That's what the Pentagon's top installation official told Congress just a couple days ago. And I think this is probably one of the biggest problems that we're seeing. As always, please comment throughout the video. Do not wait for the end of the video. I am asking for your unsolicited opinion on anything that I say. But I think that because I asked for it, it's no longer unsolicited. I think I just solicited your opinion, and now it's a solicited opinion. We're getting off track here. Listen, nobody's getting fired. And honestly, this is probably one of the biggest problems that we're seeing, specifically civilians that feel like they can't get canned. This is not me disparaging military civilians. If you are a military civilian in any capacity, contractor, GS, whatever, you know, I appreciate the work that you do, especially those of you that are really putting in those hours for our service members. But you do get a feel from some civilians that they feel like they can't be replaced. They feel like they can't get canned. And I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if it's an oversight issue, if it's a tenure issue, if it's the good old boys system where we're just not getting rid of veterans because they did their 20 years, they've done their time. But you very much get a feel that some of these individuals don't feel like they are going anywhere regardless of the service they provide. I've worked with many civilians over my career, contractor and otherwise. There are many good ones out there. But it seems like certain civilians in key roles that we need people firing on all cylinders, they're not firing on maybe half the cylinders, I don't know, 3 out of the 8 cylinders. I just described military civilians as V8s, okay? That's pretty solid. I mean, that's a good engine. I think a huge issue that we see specifically with installation maintenance with some of our government civilians is a lack of accountability and a lack of oversight. Okay, and I'm not sure where the breakdown is, but it seems like the system is so large at times we literally cannot keep track of all of it. There needs to be more oversight and there needs to be more forced accountability. Somebody should be answering for failings. Like somebody should be speaking to someone with authority. The authority of the contract holder, the authority to fire them, the authority to reprimand them. They should be speaking to these individuals, and when things are not met and it is within their control, it was negligence, action should be taken. There's no other course of action that we need here. People need to be held accountable. The conditions that our service members are living in some areas, it would be illegal. It would be illegal in other situations. Brendan Owens is a key individual when it comes to installation maintenance. The House Armed Services Committee pressed him on some of these issues, and he told them that basically nobody's getting fired. Again, I think this is a massive problem. I'm going to let you guys know what I would do to fix some of these issues. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to talk about things that are actually tangible, things that are being discussed within our government as potential solutions for these problems. The very first thing I would do to solve the issues that we're seeing, these are all problems that we've allowed to expand until at this point it almost seems like they're insurmountable. They are not. These problems are not insurmountable. You just got to take it one bite at a time. How do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant trunk first because that's the most delicious part. Okay, no, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, okay? We've all heard the saying, right? These problems are massive. These problems are elephants, and we got to address them. So the absolutely first thing I would do to light a fire under everybody is threaten a review board if tangible progress is not made towards the resolution to these problems. If a year from now we haven't made significant progress in addressing these issues, anybody involved in the resolution should be under review immediately and fired if they're found to be negligent in their duties. The very next thing that I would do is hire twice as many individuals to conduct installation maintenance. Okay, Fort Liberty recently had a massive trash issue. It was literally like trash everywhere, okay? This is an easy solution, right? more hands, more maintenance workers. And I don't think the maintenance workers should be exempt from a review board either. If they're not doing their job, if they're going to different houses on base or different buildings on base, and more often than not, they are not coming to a resolution to fix problems, get them out of there. Okay? We need people that are actually working towards the betterment of our service members and their families. And also upkeeping just generally the installation, gyms, the PX, whatever, every single building. We should take incredible pride in the fact that we are the most powerful military on earth, and that should be reflected in the services that we have access to, the buildings we have access to, everything we have access to on installations. The next thing I would do is I would start blacklisting contractors that are not meeting their contracts in a timely manner and that are taking exorbitant amounts of money for these contracts. I'm not a contract officer. I've never been a contract officer, but the people that I've discussed government contracts with, you want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? The American taxpayer in a lot of instances is getting swindled. And the value that these contractors are providing is not always what they claim it is. I think more oversight is going to be needed. We're going to have people looking over these contractors' shoulders, right? Making sure that they're actually providing what they say they're going to provide, and that what they say they're going to provide after they've provided it has also provided the value that they said it would. I just said provided, I think 76 times. I'm sorry. It's probably going to keep happening because we need people providing for our service members. I think between blacklisting crappy contractors and hiring twice as many individuals to conduct installation maintenance, we can start getting after a lot of these really significant issues that we're seeing. Our contractors should be providing for the service members, and the maintenance should not be an issue. There should not be a backlog. It should not take weeks to get a maintenance worker into your home on base in order to fix something. Now, I'm not talking about normal, run-of-the-mill, everyday stuff, right? You change your own light bulbs, you can unclog your own toilet. But if there's like a hole in your wall that was caused by, as an example, routine maintenance that the installation maintenance did or a contracted company did, somebody should be out to fix that. Somebody should be out to make your house right. Barracks should not have mold in them. We should be absolutely throwing manpower and money at these barracks. And I would almost guarantee that if you look at a lot of the older housing on military installations, you're going to find a mold problem in those houses as well. Many houses on military installations are extremely old. They are super old. There's no way they don't have mold problems. And again, I've addressed this in other videos, but I feel like fumigation's a good idea. Just gas those mothers. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have said that. That sounded bad. Fumigate the houses, don't gas the mothers. I'm going to change how I say things from now on. I apologize. Finally, one of the last things that I would do in order to solve some of these issues that we're seeing specifically on military installations is I would hire twice as many medical providers, and that's both green suiters and contractors. I don't know what this system looks like for the military. I don't know what the process looks like. I don't know what the incentives are for medical providers to join the military and do their thing, provide their service to the ranks of our service members. But I do know that there's not enough of them to go around. When service members need appointments, they should be getting appointments near instantly. Okay? And the only way to accomplish that is to have more people. We have the largest military budget in the world. And there's absolutely no reason that some of that money couldn't be siphoned to salaries for additional people, for additional hands. This is probably one of the only ways to actually get after this. Everything else is talk, okay? We can talk about making new systems, but if there aren't people to meet the needs of those systems and the additional requirements of more people flooding in, if you make a system more efficient to get a service member to a medical provider, but there's still the same number of medical providers, the issue of them not having an appointment for 2 months is still going to be there. I also believe that the complaints of service members, the valid complaints of service members, should be looked at a little bit closer. Oftentimes it feels that one specific individual on an installation, everybody knows said individual, everybody knows they're not providing what they're supposed to provide, and yet they stick around for years. This is not a new problem. This is not a unique problem. This is something that many service members can tell you about. And I think that needs to be addressed specifically. If we know that there's a specific kink in the system, not that kind of kink, get your mind out of the gutter. If we know that there's a kink in the system, that kink should get unkunked. I don't know. It should go away, okay? You just flatten it out so the water flows smoothly, all right? Just like your hose. Now, I told you guys at the end of this I was going to give you a little tidbit on a real, tangible, kinetic solution that's being discussed, and that is the privatization of military barracks. On-post housing is managed by private companies, okay? And there are a lot of really great aspects to that. When you're actually moving into the house, after you get into the office and you're talking to people, you're signing paperwork, stuff like that, it usually runs pretty smoothly. There are some weird nuances and issues, like the fact that not one company owns like every installation's housing. So depending on where you go, your BH might not match up. You might have a little bit of a prorated rent issue. But I think this is a great step in the right direction, assuming we hold people accountable. Assuming we hold these companies accountable and they are forced to provide excellent service. The only service that a civilian earning money from our troops and our taxpayers should be providing is excellent. That's it. There's no other standard by which any civilian working for the United States military should be held to.